Good morning. It's Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher. Today is October 19th, and welcome to my channel. This is a channel about cross stitch adventures, cross stitching, framed cross stitch, all the cross stitch things, and as per usual, some quilt collecting. I love fabric. I love fabric. So, and I'm always afraid that it's going to be gone, and I will look back and go, boy, I wish I would have bought that fabric. So since we last spoke, the house is progressing. If you're new to my channel, my husband and I moved to Oregon last year. We're building a house we plan to live in the rest of our lives. You know how that goes, but that's our plan. And we have a framing crew who came in and they have framed. It's toward the end of framing. So they're on the roof now, and there's trusses on the right side. Actually, that's the opposite for you, but my right. On the garage, and then it kind of tees into the house at an angle, and part of the house is framed in trusses, and then there's a middle section that's stick built. Then the other side where the ensuite area is truss built as well. So this week, we had a couple things happen, and we had our trusses that were delivered and they were wrong, right? So they were rebuilt correctly, and they have put those up, done a lot of the sheeting on the roof, and they were bringing the sheeting across the stick built part, and it didn't match where it was supposed to on the ensuite side. And they realized that they had built the ensuite side roof 2 inches off from where it was supposed to be. It was 2 inches forward. So the roof looked like it would have come in like this instead of like this on the corners. And you know those videos where people make decisions and they just do that? Well, I wasn't going to do that. So my husband either. So what they did is they took down part of the roof that they built over the ensuite, and they actually moved the roof 2 inches. And like my husband pointed out, it wasn't super heavy. It's not like you're moving the whole house, you're just moving the roof, and it wasn't fully built. So they did that. It took quite a bit yesterday. My husband's really good at that type of stuff, so he was with the crew helping them, and they were really grateful because it was nice to have someone who could help get that done. So my husband rented a skid steer, and he's out moving dirt around today, putting rock down. It's really wet where we live in the winter, and we just don't want it to be a mud hole. So that's going on today. If you hear construction noises, he's moving the skid steer and it beeps and, you know, all that stuff. I don't think the crew's going to be here today. It's already 9:30, and I would think they would have been here if they were coming today. And so then my husband goes hunting. So the challenge is trying to get as much of the hard stuff done before he goes. Then we'll try to get a roof on when he gets back from hunting, and then wrap the house, and then we'll order windows. So it is moving along. And I feel so grateful because we are able to live on site. And yes, we live in basically 2 rooms, but all of our stuff is here. It's safe. It's quiet. So much to be grateful for. What else have I done since we last talked? Well, I should have probably videoed last week, but instead I've messaged my friend Lori Wilson from Thread Milk Designs, who lives in the Salt Lake area, and I had called Rental Studios. I had visited Lori in June and taken 9 pieces with me when I visited her to Rental to have them potentially frame some of them. Well, when I left, they were going to frame all of them. So 9 pieces. At the same time, I bought a spool cabinet. And my sister, I put on Instagram, my sister's like, didn't you fly? And I was like, yes, but I'm going to have to come back. So I figured that last weekend, Thursday and Friday, I took off from work. I got a hold of Lori. I drove over 12 hours on Thursday. On Friday, we went to Rental Studios, and there were several people there who were going to the Shepherd's Bush retreat, and they were taking some things in to have them framed, or maybe they had already had them framed and they're picking them up. And that's what I was doing. I was picking up. That studio is incredible. They are so amazing. I had all samplers framed, and I didn't have any painted artwork, which is sort of Amber, who works there. That's her forte. She'll paint mats. She'll do little accent painting on frames if you want them. I didn't have any of that done, so it expedited my ability to get my stitch pieces framed. I didn't want to ship 9 pieces, so to me it was a few tanks of gas to get over there, and I stayed with Lori, so it was pretty economical for me to go there. After we went to Rensselaer Studios, we went to the antique store where I bought that spool cabinet to see what other treasures we could find, and I'll show you about a couple things. I was pretty conservative. I didn't go hog wild there, but they have some adorable things. Other than that, it's just been work and stitching. So I will show you a couple things. There's one piece I worked on the whole time, basically, since I had my last video. I was going to try and do a video last Sunday, but I was just too tired. After driving 12 hours one day, a day of running around with Lori, and then 12 hours back the next day. It was fine. It was great driving. It was scenic. I saw part of the country I hadn't seen before. When you get into Idaho, you can drive, the speed limit is 80, which is fantastic. It was great. Anyway, so I'm going to show you the other whip that I picked up after I finished the big piece, which I showed you guys on Instagram if you follow me on Instagram. I worked on, my other whip is Mirabilia Florentina. This is stitched on 32 count. I think it's rhubarb something. Rhubarb. I don't know. It's on Pole Stitch's website. Pole Stitches from the UK. I'm not going to take her out of the Q-snap, but this is how far I am. And I will tell you, it's so much fun stitching on 32 count. These big, luscious, beautiful stitches really is satisfying. I am stitching this area here. I've only stitched on this a couple days, and then I'm working on this arm that's being stitched. All the skin is stitched over one. I'm not quite done. Like, I've got to do this hand down here. I will tell you that I was a little bit burnt out after the Autumn and Lazy Bear Mountain and over one stitching, but there's not much over one in any of the whips that I have coming up, except for this bit of skin here. So this calls for cry neck. Now, when I went back and looked at the cry neck that I had put in, I did not like it. It was very jumble-y looking. Did not lay smooth. I did not care for it. So I've gone on to 123 Stitch website and ordered like 8 petite treasure braid gold colors. So they'll come in the mail. And what I like about that is if I want to try and find a substitute for the cry neck and it's in that gold colorway, which seems like on the Mirabilias that's the case, then I'll have some choices. Or I could just sub it out. If it's a different color, I can just choose one of the golds. They're not that expensive, and they lay much flatter than the cry neck. And that's the treasure braid. I think that's by Rainbow Gallery, and they have different types of products, if you will. So some of them are braids, some of them they're different compositions. So I worked on her for a few days. But the big piece that I worked on is now released. It just was released by Plum Street. This is Real Comfort by Plum Street Samplers. It was a retreat piece from the Autumn Abundance Retreat at the Attic last fall. It was on my focus list for this year. And I thought, oh, I'll just finish that. It won't take that long. Oh, my lands. Even when I finished the bottom, oh, isn't that gorgeous? I just love this so much. Hopefully that's my screenshot. I just love this so much. And it's actually better in the video here, I think, than it was on Instagram. Because on Instagram it was a little bit washed out. But isn't that so pretty? That Paulette. So I thought once I kind of got past this, it would go really fast. Well, there's still a lot of stitching, like in this. That's a lot of stitching in here. Some color changes, but I loved stitching this border. I'm not a huge fill-in person, but what I would do is I think last time you saw it was probably right about in here. and I was working my way up this way. And so now she's done. So many of you on Instagram wrote comments and you were excited to get this. It's one of Paulette's releases for this year. So I hope you enjoyed as much as I did. It was a blast to stitch. All right, check and check. Well, I took the framed pieces from Rensel's studio and left them at my sister's house. I took some pictures. I don't have them here because I wanted to unwrap them, take pictures and wrap them and put them at her house. I just don't want to bring them here because it's a construction site and it's dirty. I have nowhere to put it here. So my sister has a closet in her house that's Lisa's cross stitch haven for abandoned cross stitches that are at her house waiting for me to finish my house, and I can hang them up. By the way, there's going to be a ton of wall space at my house, like a ton. And I keep thinking, oh, I just don't want to fill it up. But I tell you what, I don't think I could in my lifetime. There's so much wall space. That's what's in my head anyway. I don't know if that's the truth, but they're 10-foot ceilings, so it goes up a long ways. And yeah, anyway, so I will insert each one. The smallest one, I'm trying to think if I can name them all. So there is Rachel Holmes by Heartstring Samplery. There is Merrily Beam's Prize Your Liberty, and a Modern Folk Embroidery Frisian Sampler. There is the Forget Me Not Sampler by European Reproduction Samplers. That's the long skinny one. The big one is Ann Dale from Shakespeare's Peddler. Sarah Chappell from Shakespeare's Peddler. I think so I had some total FOMO when I didn't go to the Farm Girl Retreat this fall. I have gone to every other one except the very first one. But we're building a house. And so I had to really just think about that. Lori and I made that decision. It was very difficult because we missed our friends. And Shakespeare's Peddler is one of my very favorite designers. I stitch a lot of her stuff. So anyway, I'm glad that they had a good time. But I missed everyone. What else did I have? There's a couple others in there. Oh, there's At Home by With Thy Needle and Thread. And there is Persuasion by The Stitching Parlor. So I'm going to go ahead and put clips in here. I'm going to insert them. The bigger pieces, I took overall shots and then kind of in chunks so you could see how it looked from a closer view, because when you get far away, you can't lose some of that detail. So I'm going to go ahead and insert those right here. Isn't that exciting? I can't wait to hang them up in my house. I can't wait to have a house to hang them up in. Also, so I want to talk a little bit about mentions. After the last video, I think because we were talking about doing stitch along. So in this Thanksgiving, I have that Winter by Blackbird Designs. It's that 3-part that's autumn, summer, winter. I'm just going to stitch winter. I'm going to bring the border from summer over. And if you have a question about it, go watch my last video. Several of you said you want to stitch that with me, which I'm really happy about. That hashtag is going to be hashtag BBD Winter Sal. Okay, so BBD Winter Sal, and that, we'll talk more about that as Thanksgiving comes up. And then a bunch of other of you wanted to stitch the Fragments in Time with me when we started on my birthday, December 3rd. So I think that might have driven some activity. Plus I was working on this Real Comfort gorgeous piece. So there's some people that mentioned, now I think there's another gal and she dropped off. It was just too old. I feel so bad because I didn't write her name down. It's a newer channel, but Narissa from Narissa Stitching Studio, she just finished Ann Dale. That was a huge finish for her. Thank you for mentioning me. Annie, Chelsea, and Belle loved Real Comfort. They mentioned that in their last video from Annie B's Folk Art. Jordan, the Tattooed Stitcher. Teresa Koga, Teresa's Creative Whims. Heidi from Whips and Kits. Lisa L Snaps, E-L-L-E Snaps. I'll link all these people below. She has a new channel. She saw my Ann Dale at the first Quilter Station cross stitch retreat, and she is working on that too. Lori Texelis, my good friend Lori, and Heidi from Stitching Faye. Anyway, so I'm sure there's more. Those are just the ones that show up on my phone under mentions, and because they've linked my channel in the drop down box below on their video. There's other people that may have mentioned it. I don't know. I think Contented Needleworker Kim said something in one of her most recent videos. If you mentioned it, I thank you so much. I don't get to watch all the floss tubes, but I do watch a fair amount. So thank you to everyone. All right. Giveaways. So I had 3 of my 4 people respond to the last giveaway. Thank you. I have not gotten them out in the mail. I just haven't. I apologize. So that's my goal, is to get those away, get those out this like Monday. I'll get them all ready and get them out in the mail. I also have 2 whips that I'm going to either finish or abandon. And because I was looking through my whip list as I finished Real Comfort, and I thought, what am I going to continue on with 2025? So you guys, I've got the spreadsheet, my focus pieces for 2024. I'm going to try and finish my Mirabilia, my Christmas at Hawk Run Hollow, and Rosary Sampler by GGR. That's a lot. But there are a couple that I'm not going to finish this year that I'll probably roll over into next year. So I had big finishes this whole year. Everything that I've worked on has been big. There's been like 1 or 2 very smaller. And when I say smaller, they're not that small. I still have a lot of stitching. So I have 2. There's a Lizzie Kate that I'm going to go ahead and give away. And then there's a Prairie Schooler. So I forgot to pull those out. Let me go ahead and grab those and I'll be right back. I can hear my husband coming over with the skid steer, so I could get a little bit loud here. I'm going to try and hopefully it's not too loud. All right, so I started talking and I realized my video wasn't going. So the first one is Prairie Schooler Prairie Flowers. I don't think this one has been reprinted yet by, is it Hoffman who has the rights to print this? I'm not sure. But this is a very pretty little pattern, and I stitched this basket here, and I was going to stitch 3 of them, and I just decided I'm just gonna go with this one, and I'm going to try and find an oval frame, maybe at Hobby Lobby or what have you, and just frame this one. So I stitched this on a 20-32 count even weave. It's kind of blowing out. There you go. And I stitched it with silks from my stash. I have no idea what they are. If you would like this pattern in my giveaway this week, please write the word flowers in your comments. The other is, and I tossed this over here because I thought it was done, is Lizzie Kate Things Unseen. So this is a mystery sampler, I think it's a 3-part series. And it comes with the bead kit, and also the fabric. This was a center start. I was going to stitch it for my niece for a high school graduation. I don't know that it's her style, so I decided not to stitch it and to give it to you instead. It doesn't have the threads. The threads are integrated into my thread stash already. So, but it does have all three parts, the bead kit and the start. You can decide what you want to do with it. I don't care if you use the fabric for something else. It's up to you. It's a giveaway, right? So, and I was looking at this bag. This is a Lisa Smith bag, and I have a tutorial. I know that there are other people who have great tutorials too. So if you're looking for a tutorial though, it's not my pattern. It's from a free website, it's a free pattern. I just show you how to make it. But this fabric is so beautiful. It's so gorgeous. This is laundry basket quilt fabric. She's my favorite. I bought this in several colorways and made bags and sold them. And oh, I have a lot of this fabric left. I'm a fabric hoarder. A self-confessed, self-designated fabric hoarder, and I love it. I don't care. I have buckets and buckets, tubs of fabric, and I keep adding to my stash. Anyway, I do want to get back to making some more bags, but we'll see. Okay. Those two I'm going to let go into the universe. Let me take a look at my agenda here to see how on track we are. Check, 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 check. All right. So I have a few things to show you that I've picked up. Isn't that always the case? Especially the longer I go between videos, the more there is to show. I mentioned that I love fabric. So this is a fat quarter bundle. I bought this at the Fat Quarter Shop. This is Evelyn's Closet, and I bought more of this, a few yards of this to go with it. This is this pattern fabric in there. She's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. I also picked up this one. So I told you guys, I think there's people that have done a run on the Minnick and Simpson patterns and fabric on their Etsy shop. They keep posting like, oh, we have enough to make this pattern. And so then people are buying it. And I'm like, oh, there's a couple cool kits that I would like to have had, but I didn't buy them. I've showed you the ones I bought in the past videos. So this is called Regent Street. And also Ellen's Sewing Basket. Oh, isn't that gorgeous? This one they recently had kitted up. Okay, so on this one, Rambling Rose. I feel like I bought this one. I think they might have thrown this one in for free, but I don't know. I like this one, and they have their last line is called Grand Haven, and I'm gonna have to buy some of that. But I wanted to make this one, and this has the stars fabric in it. So I did buy that fabric. They had some of each colorway. One's a little bit lighter than the other. It's so unique. I mean, you could use something else that's blue. Of course you could. But I really liked that. So I bought that from Minnick and Simpson. My friend Lisa Abbey from Lisa Abbey Needleworks. She's been busy. She's selling stuff on Instagram. And I bought a red one of these in a different, it was more of a taller pin cushion. Well, she made this one. Isn't that gorgeous? With this little strawberry that hangs on it and a little plate that goes underneath it. So, oh, so pretty. Thank you, Lisa, for sharing your talents. When I was in Utah, Lori and I, one day we went to Stitchery Express. So we went to the antique store. We were at Stitchery Express for quite a while. Okay, I've never been in Stitchery Express. When you go in, the lobby is pretty good size, and she had all Halloween. Thus, you'll see the haul that I had. And then if you go to the right, there's a kind of a door that goes into a room that has tons of patterns that are in boxes. It was a little overwhelming, if I'm honest about it. But I did dig. And then if you go to the right, go through another door, and they have like all of the Brenda Gervais and Plum Street. They have some tables you could sit at. All the fabric was back in there. They have a Mill Hill little room. It's a pretty cool place. And she's very nice. Cindy Sorley was super nice. I bought this Manny Di Donna fabric. It is a little bit darker than it's showing, a little warmer than it's showing. It looks gray, but it is called Pumpkin Patch. It's a 40 count. I bought the side that's not quite as strongly colored, as splotchy. It's gorgeous. I don't think this is a Zweigart fabric, but it has really nice hands. So it's not gauzy at all. Sometimes the non-Zweigart fabric can be kind of gauzy. It's not a Weeks fabric. I don't know what it is, but it's really nice. I also picked up, okay, so here's my philosophy. I bought a wood rose. Okay, so wood rose is one of my favorite colors, but it's hot or cold. It's either this beautiful variegated kind of salmon, peach, dark salmon colors. It's so beautiful. When it's beautiful, it's beautiful. When it's off, it's just peach. It's just like I've got some that are just peach. So when I see one that I really like, I always buy one because Brenda Gervais uses them all the time in her patterns. I also picked up Brick Path and Brown Bear. The Brown Bear is so variegated and it's got lots of beautiful warm colors in it. Also, this one has the greens and the browns in it. So I do love General Arts. They're one of my favorites of all the thread makers. They just sometimes, you can't always get their stuff. So I bought Primrose Cottage. Their stuff is so adorable. Primrose Cottage Witchy Way. Look at that boot house. Hilarious. I bought Halloween Quilt. So that she had a couple. I picked this one up already. I didn't have this one. So I really like that one and bought that. This is my first Robin Pickens designs. Isn't this adorable? Wouldn't this be pretty on a dark kind of a money fabric? Not too dark because you want to see that crow, but this is adorable. I bought a Mill Hill kit. I have yet to stitch one of these, but I've got 3 or 4 of them. And I will say that good conversation with stitchy friends makes you buy things that you hadn't bought before. So my friend Lori was talking about how she really likes working on the Mill Hills. And those 3 cats cracked me up. Blueberry Ridge. This is Pansy Patch Quilts. It's her daughter. Isn't that really pretty? It's so soft and quilty looking. I liked that one for sure. This is my friend Tara Sully Stitches. When she showed her Halloween stuff, they have Stitchery Express has several of these. I don't know if they're in print or not. And I had like 4 or 5 of them in my cart, and then I edited it down to just this one. This one is called Eva. Tara showed that. And this one is I think this is adorable. This is called Spooky Halloween, and it's by Shepherd's Bush. And you can stitch these little guys individually, and maybe that Halloween. You could just do a couple, 3 or 4 little pillows out. That would be cute too. So that is what I picked up from Stitchery Express. And I hadn't been there before, so I was happy to go. Now, where is my... Oh, when I went to the antique store, and I think it was like Vintiques is the name of the store. This is where I bought the spool cabinet. I saw this, and I just thought, I love the detail on this. Isn't this beautiful? And wouldn't this be great in a craft room with jars of buttons and stitch pieces and framed pieces? This one is not recessed from the wall. It lays flat against the wall, but I think you could do it where I put the hangers up on the top part and not the screws down here. And perhaps it could be that I have a hanging system that tucks behind here and then I can hang things on the bottom. I don't know. Who knows, right? So I bought that there, and I also found this. So I love home scenes. This was a print from a gentleman, what's his name? Leek, L-E-E-K, Parkinson, and it's 1974. There were several prints, but this is one I really like. They're $5 a piece. So I was like, yes, isn't that pretty? Not that my house is going to be cowboy, but it doesn't really look cowboy to me. It looks just kind of fall. All right. I was on a rabbit hole one day, went down a rabbit hole, and I was looking at old pictures. I can't remember why I was looking at old pictures. Probably Barry from Stitch Folks. She takes old images and puts them on her bags, which is so clever. She's so artistic that way. And I was on eBay looking for, I think, old witch. I don't know what the keyword search was. It was like old witch photos or something like that. And I bought this from Renee's Mostly Art. So if you go on eBay and you look for the store, Renees Mostly Art on eBay, this might come up. But this is called, what did she call this one? Scary LOL Halloween Witches. This is a print of an old picture. And I was dying when I saw it. This is like $6. I'm sorry. This is $8. And I thought, oh my lands, I cannot wait to frame this. Look at this gal. She's got the glasses on. There's reflection. Look at this gal. She's got a little wart on her face. These guys crack me up. So I bought that. And I thought that's so appropriate for Halloween. And it's so hilarious. I don't want to cover any of them up though. So I'm going to have to figure out how to frame this. Anyway, so I thought I'd share that with you. It's not stitching. Some of that stuff's just fun to see what other people pick up. Just a shout out to my friend Chris Yo. Chris was at the retreat at the Autumn Acorns and Threads Pinwist retreat. I showed this last time. She reached out to me. She's the one who made this. And so Chris is hilarious. It was great to meet her. I felt bad that I hadn't mentioned her in the last video, but you know how it is. You get on these videos and you can't remember anything. Like everything falls out of your brain. Even though I've got things written down, there's stuff I'll forget. But Chris was pointing out this is like you could put anything in here. You could put orts, you could put stitch pieces, whatever. This is kind of it's flexible, but it has memory to it. So you just pull these open to open that up. You could just go in and do it this way too. But she has these little flaps on here on purpose. And she has an Etsy shop. I'll link her Etsy shop below. I don't know if she has these in there, but she's super creative. She's got those bag tags too. Anyway, so that's my friend Chris, my new friend Chris. And I picked up some 40 count light hazelnut from Shakespeare's Peddler from Kitten Stitcher. This is XG Designs. It is a skinny half, meaning when they get the fat half of fabric, they cut it lengthwise instead of widthwise. And I asked her if she would do that, and she said yes. And this is because I am going to stitch Jenny Bean for the Parlor series with my friend Pam Horner, who is going through cancer treatment. So Pam has put it on Instagram. If you want to stitch with her, that's her chemo stitch. And so I have a couple of the patterns to that series. I think there's like 8. I usually start at the bottom, so I need to go, maybe you can buy them on PDF, so probably go buy the bottom 2 and get that started. I need to gather the threads as well. So I got that, and Teresa has such great service. You can go online and you can message her. And when you buy it, all you have to do is say, can you cut this as a skinny half? And she does it. Also, these are the threads for Mary Ann Kopp. I always want to say for Frances Kopp for some reason. I get the name wrong. This is a With Thy Needle and Thread sampler pattern from last year. And I've just been kind of collecting the threads. I think I have them all now. I'll insert a copy of I'll insert a picture of the stitch piece here. Well, at least it's the pattern. I was looking through my stash thinking, what am I going to stitch this on? And I had stitched Abby Rose Designs, the sister sampler, on some 40 count ballet slipper. I gave that to my sister, and I thought that would be a great fabric for this thread. Now I ordered a fat quarter from Christina. Sorry, went out my brain. Christina, Hollis Hands Creates, great service. And I got it, and it's a little peachier. It's definitely a peachier dye lot, which was fine. I'm not sure that it's really exactly what I was looking for, but you know how hand dyes are. It could go either direction. It could go any direction. It looks like just kind of neutral on the screen for you, but it's definitely kind of a peachier look. So I thought, I'm gonna try again. So I ordered some from, in fact, quarter from Col Sher at Colorado Cross Stitcher, and this came back and it's much pinker. It's a much pinker. In fact, it's a darker pink than the one I had before, and I think I do like this one. It's a bit dark. You aren't going to see the intensity of color probably on there, but I think I like the way the colors look on that fabric. So this one is on my list of potentials to start. It might be a New Year's Day start. I haven't decided. I don't usually use thread drops, and I have a spool cabinet drawer full of them from retreats I've gone to. But what I've started doing now is using them as just pattern or thread identifiers. So this is Miss Flossie. This is Amy from Miss Flossie. Flossie, Stay Flossy. Oh, by the way, she has a retreat that she's doing in Arizona next year. You can go check out her channel, Miss Flossie, and to see how to sign up. I think she sent a link at one point to me, but she it's not going to be a designer retreat. It's going to be just friends stitching together and going to the attic and shopping and spending money, which is right up my alley. So this is Marianne Kopp, not Frances Kopp. And I have something else I think I'm going to do with the first batch of the ballet slippers. Anyway, so you just don't know what you're going to get, and sometimes it works out, and sometimes it's different than you expect. All right. You know that darn Shabby Fabrics. If you've been watching my channel, I unsubscribe to them all the time, but they've come up on my Instagram feed all the time, and they have the cutest kits. If you like sewing or wool applique, they don't really have much for cross stitch. And then I buy something and then I'm subscribed to them and they show up in my email. Look at this, the pumpkin patch pillow. It is laser cut. So all of these are already cut for you. So I'm just going to do raw edge applique, sew it on, and call it good. Could not be easier. It's so adorable. I think I should have a sponsorship for that shop. Their things kill me. I love them. We're getting down here. When I was at Rensselaer Studios, they have a free bin of little odds and ends of framing stuff. And, well, when you buy 9 pieces, I don't know that it's really free, but I picked this up, and I thought this would be perfect for Christmas, maybe even a prairie schooler. Wouldn't that be cute? And then I got this one also for free. So I picked 2. I know all the people coming to the Shepherd's Bush retreat probably go look at that, but honestly, it is what it is, right? It's all about timing. On the way home from Lori's house, on the way over, I had stopped midway, and it was kind of a small town called Burns, Oregon, in the middle of nowhere, like 100 miles from the closest anywhere. And I had put in quilt store, because usually those small towns have a quilt store and nothing came up. On the way back home, there was a sandwich sign in the downtown area that said Quilt Shop, and it had an arrow. So I did a U-turn. I went around the block, and I parked, and I went in, and the gals were so nice there. They had a long arm quilt going on a quilt, and they had mostly flat folds. And what the lady had told me is that she and her business partner, dissolved their business a couple years ago because her partner wanted to retire. So all the fabric they had left, they took off of the core, like the bolt core. I don't know what you call it. There's probably some quilt name for it. And I think it was easier to store. So she had it stored in a friend's house or her house. I don't know. And then she decided that she needed to get rid of that. And she had a lot. So I can hear my husband moving the skid steer outside, so it might get a little noisy here. There he goes. He's moving rock around now. Anyway, so the flat fold fabric, which is 90% of what she had, 95%, was $6 a yard. And the batiks were $7 a yard. Well, I have some batiks, but not much. Batiks aren't really my thing. And I was kind of looking, I didn't see anything, and then I saw this, and I'm like, that looks like a French general. So I pulled it off the shelf, and sure enough, it was. And look at this guy. He's got kind of a French hat and a little, I love this fabric. It's kind of a toile. I guess you would call it that. But for $6 a yard, is it upside down? It is. I said, well, why don't you give me like 7 yards? And then she had 10. So I was like, oh, I'll just take the 10 yards. And then she had like 10 3/4, and she gave me the last 3/4 for free. So this is going to be a great quilt back. It could be curtains. Wouldn't that be fun? Also could be pillow shams. I don't know, but it's in my stash now. And this line is what is this called? Les Marais, Marais. I don't know if I said that right, but that's how I said it. You can correct me if you want. I also saw this one, these. I got just a yard of these. This is a French general. Isn't that pretty? This is not French general, but I liked it. And it goes with the Evelyn's Closet line that I showed you at the beginning. This is a French general. Neutrals are always good. And this one is a French general. I should have bought more of this, but I figured 3 yards is probably enough. You can make borders out of this. Wouldn't this be a pretty border for a quilt? I don't know. You know where it's going to go? It's going to go in a tub for now. It's going to go into a tote. I showed y'all a William Morris print that I had bought with a butterfly on it a few videos ago. Well, guess what? That stuff, that shop still shows up in my feed, and it kept showing up and showing up and showing up. So I bought this print as well. Maybe this shows up in your feed. Gosh, I love that. And I haven't decided. It's a print, so it's not precious. You know, I might frame it all the way up and not put the William Morris signature around it. I might just frame it tight to the graphic. All right, we're nearly there. The last thing I want to show you is a new acquisition. And I can't tell you how thrilling it is to share this and have people just love it, right? Because, and I get people who are like, are you going to print that? Are you going to reproduce that? I'll be the first one to buy it. And then my friends who volunteer to reproduce it for me. This is on my list of things to reproduce when I retire. Okay, this is a really tall one. You're going to see a lot of reflection. I apologize for that. But this is, I think it's Marie Blockle, Blockl. I think it's an O, not an A. But she is so pretty. This is a kind of a little cartouche. It's stitched in wool, but it's not a really, sometimes the wool pieces are really big and the fabric is really big. This is not so big, and it has great color. It sort of looks like Berlin wool work to me. This alphabet is very garden looking. And then these flowers and motifs on the bottom are amazing. Amazing. That there, the acanthus leaf kind of scrolly motifs in the bottom. I love this one so much. She's so different than anything that I have in my collection. And then there's like this border that goes all the way around. It's sort of a honeysuckle border. Amazing. So she'll go to my sister's house too and live with the rest of the antiques that I have. What else? I did buy a ticket to the Jingle Ball. I did buy the PDF for Stacy Nash's Darling Christmas. I tried to buy the kit, but my computer had a heart attack and almost died. It seized up and it was like, I don't have time for this. So I just ended up buying the PDF, which makes more sense now that I look at it, because I have so much stash that I could fully stitch that piece from my stash and finish it from my stash. So there were so many adorable designers, so many great smalls and classes. So it's a lot of fun. My sister bought a ticket this year, so maybe we'll go, stitch together and join some of the stitching tables together. So Today is mid-October. I imagine I'll be back in a couple weeks. As we get to the holiday season, it gets a little more challenging as far as filming, but I probably will be in a couple more times before the end of the year. I would imagine 3 or 4 more times. So have a great rest of your October. I probably will see you at the very end of October and appreciate you watching my channel. I will see you next time. Take care.